It's a temperamental quality, not an intellectual quality.
It doesn't take a high IQ to figure out that they're cheap.
And buying something because they think it's going to go up next week or next month.
I mean, if you can't take your stock going down, it's going to go down sometime if you own a stock, so why worry about it?
And I pointed out that if you put $10,000 in an index fund that reinvested dividends, and it would come to $51 million now.
If you have an overall feeling that business is a reasonable place to have your money over a long period of time, is to invest over a long period of time.
It's a temperamental quality, not an intellectual quality. You need a stable personality. You need a temperament that neither derives great pleasure from being with the crowd or against the crowd. Because this is not a business where you take polls, it's a business where you think.
Stocks sell at silly prices from time to time. It doesn't take a high IQ to figure out that they're cheap, but it does take a temperament that's willing to step up and actually act.
What's the biggest mistake people make, though?
Well, the biggest mistake they make is listening to a lot of other people and buying something because they think it's going to go up next week or next month. And for whatever reason people give you, you should understand what you buy.
If you worry about corrections, you shouldn't own stocks. I mean, if you can't take your stock going down, it's going to go down sometime if you own a stock, so why worry about it? I mean, the point is to buy something that you like at a price you like and then hold it for 20 years. And you should not look at it day to day. If you bought a farm or apartment house, you wouldn't get a quote on it every day or every week or every month. So it's a terrible mistake to think of stocks as something that bob up and down, and that you should pay attention to those bobs up and down.
Single thing you could have done on March 11th, 1942, when I bought my first stock, was just buy an index fund. Never look at a headline, never think about stocks anymore, just like you would do if you bought a farm. You just buy the farm, let the tenant farmer run it for you. And I pointed out that if you'd put $10,000 in an index fund that reinvested dividends, and I paused for a moment to let the audience try and guess how much it amount to, and it would come to $51 million now. And the only thing you had to really believe in then is that America would win the war, and that America would progress as it has ever since 1776, and that American business, if America moved forward, American business would move forward. You didn't have to worry about what stock to buy. You didn't have to worry what day to get in and out. You didn't know the Federal Reserve would exist, whatever it might be. And America works.
The nature of index funds is that you are saying, I think America's business is going to do reasonably well over a long period of time, but I don't know enough to pick the winners, and I don't know enough to pick the winning times. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know enough to pick the winning times. Occasionally I think I know enough to pick a winner, but not very often. And I certainly can't pick winners by going down through the whole list and saying this is a winner and this isn't, and so on. So the important thing to do, if you have an overall feeling that business is a reasonable place to have your money over a long period of time, is to invest over a long period of time and not make any bet implicitly by putting a big chunk in at a given time. In terms of the index fund, I would just take a very broad index. I would take the S&P 500 as long as I wasn't putting all my money in at one time. If I were going to put money into a index fund in relatively equal amounts over a 20 or 30-year period, I would pick a fund. And I know Vanguard has very low costs. I'm sure there are a whole bunch of others that do. I just haven't looked at the field. But I would be very careful about the costs involved, because all they're doing for you is buying that index. I think that the people who buy those index funds on average will get better results than the people that buy funds that have higher costs attached to them.